traditional tale that is in Asia and Europe. You find it in many cultures.
Is it called the woodcutter?
The woodcutter.
All right.
Once there was a woodcutter who would go out every day into the forest and cut wood, bring it back, and sell it to folks who needed it for cooking and for keeping their houses warm. He dearly loved his forests, and one day when he was out cutting, he found a little cage, a trap, a snare in which 2 white doves had been caught. And loving so much the creatures of his forest, he couldn't bear to see them caged up, and he opened the trap and released them into the air. Every day he would go into the woods and cut wood and enjoy his creatures, but one day he met a beautiful young woman, married her, and moved to a nearby village where her family was located, and he had to find another job. But as the years went by, he so missed his forest that he finally decided he would take a few days off, journey back to the forest, and enjoy it once again. As he entered the forest, things looked pretty much the same, except as he got deeper and deeper into the forest, he found a little cabin that he didn't know was there before. He was drawn to that cabin rather mysteriously, and he found himself just knocking on the door. And when the door opened, there was an old woman who said, "Come in. I've been expecting you." He was drawn into the cabin, and there he found, as if he was caught, he was ensnared himself. And as he looked at that woman turned into a huge black snake who opened up its jaws and said, "Now I have got you. You remember the 2 white doves that you released? They were to be my food. I've been waiting all this time to find you, and now you will replace that meal. I will have you for supper." Well, the woodcutter was caught. He couldn't get out. Something was keeping him bound in the cabin. And she said, "The only way you will escape is if the bell tower and the bell in the old cathedral should ring 12 times before midnight, but you have no way of getting there." And as night proceeded, the woodcutter began to feel the pressure and intensity and anxiety, knowing he was going to be the supper for this snake woman. And then it was just a couple of minutes before midnight. Off through the forest, they heard the bong, bong, bong. The bell began to ring 10, 11, 12 times, and then it was midnight, and the woodcutter was freed. He was able to leave the cabin and out into the woods. He knew what he must do. Through the night, he found his way all the way to that old cathedral. There it was in ruins, but the bell tower still intact. He climbed up the stairs, and there in the bell tower was the old rusty bell, and laying beneath it 2 white doves, their wings bloodied from banging themselves against the gong the night before. And he knew what he must do. He spent the next few days nurturing and caring for those 2 white doves until they were back to health, and he released them. And as far as I know, he lived happy and content.
Oh.